If you are 50 years and below and you are a Kalenjin man, stop going to church immediately. I mean immediately. Yani next week, next Sunday, don't go to church. If you've been going to church as a Kalenjin man and you are 50 years and below, kindly stop. Stop it. Stop it right there, Maze. Stop it. And let me explain why. First of all, thank you for watching. Thank you for passing by. Karibuni sana. But I've been thinking, observing for all the years I've been under the sun. I have observed very, very, very many interesting, shocking, and crazy stuff going around. First of all, for starters, I am an Assisian. I am not a Christian. And I was a Christian before, but now I am not. Over the years, I have gone to school, gone to campus, I've been in business and all those things. So I understand a lot of things here and there. But today, my point is, kindly, if you are a Kalenjin man and you want to save yourself, save your generations, save your boys, stop going to church. And let me explain. First of all, the church, to me, after doing a lot of research, looking at what's happening in the church, how it came about, and all these things, I have totally come to reject the idea that for a man to go to church is a good thing. No, it's not. It's not, and it's not, Mazi. First of all, the church takes away your masculinity as a man. And I am speaking specifically to Kalenjin men. Kalenjin men, you've been known to be masculine, to be conservative, to be those, the warriors, just like the Maasais, the Turkanas, the Samburus. We've been known as the Nilots. We are the real men, mazi. Sisi ndio wale wa jamaa. We are those guys who spend 2 months in the bush to be initiated from boyhood to manhood. And I can remember my grandfather said they went for this circumcision process, the transitioning process, the rite of passage for 1 year. Sometimes in the past, they would go even for like almost 2 years. Yeah, you can imagine. But nowadays, because things were taken over and we don't have enough time to do that, we are going for a month. That is in December. And so, why am I saying that if you are 50 years and below, you should stop going to church? First of all, guys, church takes away your masculinity as a man. And there's nothing most important to guard as a man there's nothing more important than guarding your manhood, guarding your masculinity, your stature as a man. There's nothing worth protecting than that. And so the reason why I'm telling Kalenjin men 50 years and below to stop going to church is because the church is currently constituted. Christianity and all these things totally do not add up. First, the church is presented as an institution that seeks to connect you with God. That is totally a crappy idea first that I must dismiss, because Kalenjins, even before Christianity came to Kenya, we knew God, we were with God, we were one with God, and our God was called Assis. So there's nothing new the church is trying to solve here in terms of like connecting you with God. How? My great-grandparents, my ancestors for thousands of years, I've always been there with God. So how can you tell me that now that you've came and conquered, took over some lands, took over some territories, introduced some military system, some economic system, some education system, now you now can tell me that now, even when it comes to God, you are disconnected with God? Yeah. So that is a stupid idea in the first place. I believe my ancestors, my people, my great-great-grandparents, the name Binot itself is not my name. It's a name that belonged to my great-great-great-grandfather. And so Kibinot himself knew God. He was connected with Assis. He was always with God. God is all over with us. So the idea that the church is coming to connect you with God first is a very stupid idea that every Kalenjin man should not entertain. Because God is always here, God is always with us, whether you are in the caves, whether you are swimming, whether you are herding cattle, whether you are at home, whether you are out there hunting, whether you are in the modern world, you are in Australia, you are in Canada, you are in the US, you are in Nairobi, you are in the village, God is always with you. Assis is always with you. And so what I'm trying to say here is that Christianity and the church is making men less masculine. That is the point, and that is the only reason, or the first or the most important reason, that I am asking all men, all Kalenjin men, to be specific. I'm yet to come to these other men from other communities, but let me start with my own tribesmen. Kindly think. Jiulize, ukienda kanisa, why should you go to church every Sunday to be taught how to be close to God, while your great-great-great-grandparents, you are here because of many years of, you have so many ancestors behind you. And all of them, like 99% of them, did not go to church. They knew God. They knew Assis. God was called Assis in Kalenjin. So what are you trying to do now that someone else in the 1910s and in the early 1900s came and told you that you don't know God? You've been disconnected from Assis. That is crap, man. Where were they all those thousands of years? So do you mean that we've survived all those years? Your great-great-grandfather, your great-great-grandparents, grandmothers, and all your relatives, the entire clan, all those years back, were all disconnected from God? Then, obviously, we were not connected with the foreign God. The God that these people came with, first of all, we are not even conversant. We don't know. It's none of our business. But you are connected with Assis. Naturally, directly in your DNA, you are connected with Assis because you are born of your great-grandparents. And these great-great-great-great-grandparents they are a product of Assis. So automatically you are connected. So the idea of going to church to be reminded that you've been disconnected, you are not, you need to do this to be close to God. So that is the first thing that I totally disagree. And that is one of the reasons I ask my Kalenjin brothers, please get back to your senses and stop going to church. The second thing, church is not an institution to support your spiritual journey or existence. It is not a spiritual institution. It is a monetary institution. It is a financial institution. It is an economic institution. That is a fact that many people across the world understand but do not want to accept. So I'm very direct. The church is an economic system. When you go to church as a man, first you are being entertained, you sing, you do the praise and worship, and then you start giving offerings. And where does the money goes? So if you are a Kalenjin man, educated, not educated, with a degree, no degree, certificates, no certificates, 50 years and below, please. In most cases, anyone 50 years and below must have gone to school as a Kalenjin man. Most in Kalenjin land, people have gone to school. So you can understand, or you can look at these things and say, okay, I go to church every day. I go and sing and do all those things. And at the end of the day, I must part with around 50 shillings, 100 shillings, 200 shillings, and so on. That is the tithe. The second thing, there'll be some changos here and there. Let us fundraise to build the house of the pastor. Let us fundraise to do this. So you give out money. So as a Kalenjin man, that institution is an economic empire created by some other people to collect money from the poor masses. And so as a Kalenjin man, you do not have time and resources to go and give to church. That is for a fact. So the idea that you are going to church as a man, first of all, to go and be connected to God, that is wrong first, because assist is always with you. God is always with you. You don't need to be in the church to be connected to God. That is one. Secondly, you don't need to give money to be close to God or to feel like you are now doing something to God. God does not need money. If God really needed money, he would have created money in abundance. God created everything. He created the trees, humans, the rivers, the waters, the winds, the light emitting creatures like the sun, the stars, the moon, and everything. So if really God needed money, why didn't God create money? So as a Kalenjin man, we are saying, stop going to church. For a fact, going to church makes you less masculine. It makes you meek. It makes you humble. When you go to church, you are forced, all of you, to behave in one way. First of all, men and women are being forced to behave in a certain way. That is one thing I don't really like about Christianity, because Christianity is trying to make men and women very much the same. You go to church, you are indoctrinated, you are brainwashed, you are conditioned, you are told when you are doing the praise and worship, you all sing. Men and women sing the same way. When it comes to praying, if it is the crying in the church, men and women are expected to cry. That is something men, first of all, should not be doing. If you are a man, a circumcised man, you should stop crying while praying. Start with that. Kama unaona kwenda kanisa ni lazima, ukienda kanisa, don't even cry when praying. Why are you crying? You are a man. You are not supposed to be crying when asking God for anything. And by the way, why should all of us go to a place and pray every Sunday? And this is an idea that I totally don't agree with. So, Kalenjin Men, those are some of the few reasons I'm asking you all to just stop going to church. Save your masculinity. Another reason I'm trying to point out here, apart from taking away your masculinity, the idea that you are disconnected or you are not with God, so you must go find God under some concrete and cement and metals put up together into a structure so that you can find God there. That is totally wrong, because you also need to give money. That is the third reason. The fourth reason is that going to church makes you weak. It makes you weak as a man, because you are delegating your thinking. You are donating your brains. You are removing your brain. You are making your brain less functional and giving all the power to think to one person. Imagine the pastor standing there and talking to like 100 people seated in a church, indoctrinating them that you have fallen short of the glory of God. The blessed is the hand that gives than the hand that receives. And the question is, when will the pastor give? If it is giving, when will the pastor give? So guys, so going to church as a man first is a way of relinquishing your power as a man, giving that power to a fellow man who is not interested in you. He is interested in controlling you, your wife, and your children. So you cannot be a man in the home, because the pastor now, or the religious leader, or the doctrines, or the entire thing is totally controlled. Your family is controlled by someone else, not even you, not even God. Because Assis has always been there. God has always been all over, omnipresent. It's a new term they gave it to us, and we agree. Assis is omnipresent. He doesn't need to be in a structure to be present. So going to church actually literally means you are letting your pastor to control your thinking, the thinking of your children, the thinking of your wife. And your wife will never be your wife. The first person your wife will always listen to is the pastor. If the pastor today calls your wife and asks her, we need money, or we need you to come to church to do this and that. Actually, your wife will just go and say, I'm going to church, without you giving permission or not. I have seen it. And this is what disgusts me the most. Whereby, nowadays, the family is not really led by the man. It is led by the ideas, the thinking, and the abracadabra of the church. So, Kalenjin men, you need to wake up, stop going to church. Just stop for a minute. Stop it for 1 year. And if you still feel like you have to go to church, don't give money. Don't give money at all. This is something I have started talking about. I have observed this thing for a very long time, but I had not gathered the courage to talk about it. Or it wasn't yet time. But since I've spoken about so many things so far on my TikTok channel, on a bit on WhatsApp and other places, let me now start talking about this thing. Don't give money to the church, because the church, without money, the church crumbles. That is why I'm telling you, it is an economic institution. It is a financial system. It's nothing. It's like the government. The government will pay taxes. The church will pay tithes in exchange for some services. But this other one is quite queer. We should be paying tithes to the church to offer some social services, but we are paying in the pretext that we are accessing God. No, God is not a service. Stop selling God. God is not a service. If you are selling God as a service, then that is not a supreme being. It is a product. It is a service. Period. So guys, my fellow Kalenjin men, I'll still talk about this thing. Hadi all Kalenjin men below 50 years and below stop going to church. First of all, I must congratulate millennials and the Gen Zs for not going to church. Congratulations. You've passed the first test of mental liberation and spiritual awakening. You don't need to go to church. So Kalenjin men, wherever you are, tukipatana hapo kwa mtaa, kindly tell me niliacha kwenda kanisa. I'll be very happy. And Assis will be very happy. We've been conditioned for many years that we must go to church. But remember, around 4 things that I've talked about. First, it takes away your masculinity. Secondly, going to church is a lie, because they tell you you need to reconnect with God by going to church. God does not need a church to connect with his people. If that God found in the church is really requires people to be in the church, then that is not a supreme being. Assis as our supreme being as Kalenjin people. The supreme being in our understanding as the Kalenjin people does not need infrastructure, does not need a lot of instruments, a lot of singing, a lot of crazy stuff and talking and all that to connect with you. No. Thirdly, you don't need to go to church because of money. Don't give money in the church. And so if you don't need to give money, then don't go. Stop going to church. That is the third reason. The fourth reason is that, of course, as a Kalenjin man, you need to take charge of your family, take care of your kids, your children and everything, and your wife, provide for them. But going to church actually means you relinquish your power as a man to the pastor and anything else that comes with it. So guys, let's stop it here for today. I'll keep on talking about this thing. Kalenjin men, stop going to church if you are 50 and below. Those who are above, they can choose to continue. We understand you've been deep into the system. It's okay. We let you. You are our parents. Fine. Keep on going. But 50 years and below, wazazi wa Gen Z, millennials, and the Gen Zs. No. So guys, make sure you subscribe wacha tumalizie hapo. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for checking in. Let's unplug. This is Martini Binot, Assisian mwenyewe. Thank you for watching.